All right, this is a pre-drive. I just want you to hear the exhaust. I want to hear it myself. I can't tell, so I'm just going to get in the car and rev it up a little bit. Alright, we're going to go for a drive now. Has a real neat sound to it. It's still, you know, quiet family car sound. But you can tell it's a little bit different. Inside the car, you can't tell anything. So, I don't know if I can turn the flash thing off of this thing or not. Probably not now that it's on. There we go. Roll this thing up. So one of the things the tune does is you can see the gear selector now. See the D1 up there? It's in automatic. It's not in manual. So it's switched to D2. That, the Malone tune brought up on that thing. Oh, these struts feel so good. Wow. I'm gonna have to seatbelt it. Otherwise, you're gonna hate me for dinging. Okay. I'm gonna go this way. No traffic this way. So it's warmed up a little bit. Be very conservative on it here. So there. Oh yeah, this thing. Oh my God, this is like night and day difference. I'm gonna put it in manual now. So it's in 5th gear. I'm gonna set it in 4th, 40 miles an hour. I'm just gonna slowly ease into it. I'm gonna stay in that gear and let the turbo boost up there. Wow, it's moving back pretty good there. Not a race car, but it throws you back. So it's a different car now. Oh yeah. And it's got a little higher RPM or red line on it too, but you know, these things never rev up. And if you try and make a diesel rev, you're going the wrong way. Let's turn around here. And that's me just revving it up manual. Let's just see what it would do. There's 2nd now. 2nd. 3rd. Wow. Wow. Moving. It feels, comparatively, we have a Nissan Maxima 2017, 300 horsepower. Feels every bit as good as that. So, I mean, it doesn't have the horsepower that does, but it's got the torque more. And so, let me go slower here. Back in the parking lot and put the windows down where you can hear it. Okay, going back through here, through here. Here's my driveway. Just gonna do a little brake boost and launch. See what it does. Whoa. Yeah, that's impressive. Especially when it hit 2nd gear and the boost came in. So, very expensive, lots of work. Do I recommend you do this? Well, if you own one of these cars, it would be very wise to do it. if the car's nice enough. Like I said, we've kept this thing, it's garage kept. It's a fully loaded SEL with a sport package on it, and it's a Dieselgate car. We bought it off a Dieselgate auction as it came back, and I love it because it's politically incorrect. But that's it. We're running. You can hear it just whoosh. Doesn't sound like my LBZ Duramax, but it's got a similar whistle, you know, turbo whistle on a diesel. Headlights, the car looks brand new now. Said the Dieselgate scandal. I remember they had these cars hidden for like 3 years before they released them back to the public. We've had this thing a long time now, but never had a front plate put on it, which is nice. Can't say that for all my cars. And there's the engine cover that'll go back on it. It's nice. And no more use of this, but will you take that tank out of there or not? I don't know yet. I'm still on the fence of whether I'm going to pull that out or not. Be good to drain it, get all the pee out of it. But again, the cost of this thing, that Rawtech pipe, bringing it in is close to $1,500. The tune with the DGS transmission tune, stage 2, it's about $1,000, maybe $1,100 when buying the tuner. That went really easy. I mean, that's the easiest part of the job. I'm just plug and play and just trust it works. And the hardest part is getting that DPF out of this car. And so if you watch the earlier videos, this is the trick to not having to really be intrusive with the car. It saws all this part up in there. You can reach it from the bottom right there. And then it comes out from the top. You don't have to pull drive shafts out, jack the motor up, or any of that stuff that is said that you have to do, just by that one cut right there. So that one cut takes it out. This goes out the bottom, that goes out the top. And I said, if you don't want to destroy it, you can still weld that back. I mean, it's not going to hurt it to have a nice little weld there. I could do that, but I'm not gonna. Said, I don't want any of this stuff. It'll never go back on this car. Even if we die with the car, it'll never go back on it. So, don't matter. It's done. No, never again. I said, if I had to do this all over again, I love the car. It's really cool, but the emissions are just horrible. This fixed it. This did. Maybe a long-term thing on it. I can only imagine what it's going to get in fuel economy now. It's supposed to be much better. And some of the trips that we've taken in this, just driving it conservatively, it gets over 50 on the highway right now. High 40s, all the time. Around town, mid-high 30s. It goes consistently close to 700 miles every tank. So my wife drives it most of the time. She's a lot easier than I am on it. So I have to drive it to blow all the soot out of it sometimes, but it's cool. So hope I help some people make a decision whether they're going to do their car or not. Said if you have a really crummy car that's worn out, I wouldn't do it. It's just so much work and so much expense to do it. But if you have a really nice car, it's going to make it nicer. It's really going to make it a lot nicer. Thanks for watching.